Happy Friday, everyone. We are so excited to be presenting you with another Shiz and Giggles. I am your host, Sarah, and allow me to introduce my colleagues and my co-hosts for today, Andrea and Christine. Hey, ladies, how are you doing today? How's it going, Andrea?
It's going great, Sarah. How you doing?
I am doing fabulous. I'm ready to unravel this whole week with you guys. I don't know if you feel the same, but I'm ready. How about you, Christine?
I've been good. I'm really glad to have another hour of the day, but it's also saddening that the day gets darker so fast.
So true. So true. You're not lying. All right. So, if you didn't already guess, this week we're going to discuss the elections. Okay. I feel like everyone saw this coming. We were waiting for this. I know y'all got stuff to say. I know we got stuff to say. So we're just going to break down everything, unravel everything, and yeah, let's just get right into it. So I think we have the election results available for us to view right now. Is that correct? We can pull that up really quickly, see what's going on here. All right, so we're still at 264. It's been the lucky number of the week. Love that. And then it looks like also big news. Georgia and Pennsylvania flipped. So I'm going to get into that later. But first, I want to ask Andrea, how was your experience voting this year?
Oh, wow. Okay. Same as every other year. Really, really good experience in voting, but I didn't have long lines. I have to give it up for my county, and they did a wonderful job. Chesterfield County, they did a great job in managing all of it. I went early voting or early absentee. Either way, there's a long story there about what I think is happening and why votes were counted and how they were counted. But I had a great experience all in all. I feel like everybody was so helpful and everybody was in it together. I think it was very safe and it took for me it took minutes, not hours. So I think it was for me great experience.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I heard a lot of good rapport about people saying that it was super safe and things went very smoothly and they couldn't have been happier. So that's really good news for everyone that's working the polls because, we thank them for that and their volunteer service and everything like that. How about you, Christine? How was your experience voting this year?
So I voted about a month ago when I visited my hometown in Northern Virginia, and because it was early, there was only a handful of places that you could vote at the time. So I waited an hour and 17 minutes to go and vote, but it was okay because we were all socially distancing. We were all standing in our lines, not bothering one another. And I brought my Switch, so I was just playing games. And then I Googled to make sure I knew what I was voting for and I knew everything, all the different articles and the different readings that I need to be knowledgeable of before I went into the actual voting place. But everybody that worked there was super helpful and they were very respectful of everybody. They made sure to manage anything. If people were going out of their little social distance bubbles, they made sure to take care of it immediately, and it was very safe. So I thought it was fun. Also, I got a pen. I didn't get a sticker. I got a pen. So that was exciting.
Yeah, there were a lot of interesting post-voting items given out this year. Like a lot of people, I was expecting people to have their stickers, but some people got snacks. Some people got flyers, pens, and stuff like that. So I guess they're getting very creative this year. Why not? It is 2020, the pandemic year. Might as well, do everything. And I see we have one of our viewers who said that this was their first time voting the presidential election. And I think that's so important for us, as adults, as we get older, to exercise our civic duties. So thank you guys so much. If you voted, you are a rock star. Now, after voting, though, I can only imagine the amount of emotions that were running through your minds and feelings of, even now we're still waiting. How would you say, what is your state of being right now, Andrea?
I'm cool as a cucumber. I got to tell you, I'm not I don't suffer much the same fate of anxiety. I think anxiety, in my opinion, it's relaxation is a muscle you have to exercise. And so I know a lot of my friends who are in the political world, they are like, what is happening? And my mom is a nail biter. She's like my honorary CNN anchor because she gives me all the updates of what's going on. But for me, I think there's a beauty in calmness. And so when things do kind of get like anxiety ridden, I actually use that as a time to practice going deep into my spirit and my soul to learn how to calm it no matter what's happening. So I actually use this time. I like actually times when it feels like it should be like ah. I actually use it as a time to practice ways to keep my spirit calm, to keep my soul calm. I know that's like woo woo for some people, but it's just true. So I use it as it's like a proving ground for me to see where is my anxiety, where am I at when things go not as expected. So honestly, Sarah, it's these times that I actually love. I love them because I get to practice. I get to practice patience. I get to practice calmness and learning to keep a clear head and be able to see things from different angles so I don't get wrapped up into what the media is saying and all the things going around. It helps me to stay focused. So I know I'm a weird bird. I get it. But really these are the times that try men's souls. And so in these times I like to work on me and go, where am I? Am I in a place that's centered? How do I feel? How can I stay centered so that I don't take out that aggression in other ways? Great question.
Wow, Andrea, that was beautiful. I'm over here like, all right, who's going to be as anxious as I am? But honestly, I love that. And you bring up such a good point because I know a lot of people have said that because we're going through this already these times of the pandemic and everything, where we've had a lot of time to adjust to anxiety and new things. So I think what you said is really, really important because it's just one of those things like, well, at this point, kind of used to it. So I think it's great that you practice these great mental health, mechanisms. And I remember being in the office one day, you were on the phone with your mom, you guys were talking about the election. So it's nice to have like a buddy to kind of like offset those different feelings and topics and just everything. So that was beautiful. How about you, Christine?
That was such good advice, Andrea. Honestly, I'm just like Sarah. If I see somebody else getting anxious about it, I will be like, you're right. That's what I should do too. That is what everybody else is doing, so I should do that. But like, I, for one, keep checking the virtual election like map every like 30 seconds, even though I know like nothing's going to change within a span of less than a minute. But it's definitely like made me more anxious and I guess more aware of, I guess, just being more mindful in a way. I know that there's a lot of different articles on saying like, oh, like these ballots are rejected or like this happened to my ballot. And another tip is that if you are able to go and see, like check on your ballot if you mailed it in, you can check on it and see if there's any like rejection or errors. And if there is an error, you can call your local registrant office just to cure the error. So if anybody mailed in their ballot, just make sure to check on your ballot. But yeah, I have been reading a lot of articles and just getting anxious for no reason when I should really just be cool as a cucumber, like Andrea said, and practice mindfulness and practice patience.
Christine, you literally took the exact statement out of my mouth. I was going to say, well, here in the office, we're cool as cucumbers, but I can't say the rest for the rest of the country because apparently we have photos of places already being boarded up to prepare for like a possible civil unrest. Like that is crazy. But honestly, I don't blame people because we already saw the aftermath of the summer. So I think everyone's just taking precautions. But I'm glad that you guys are all calm and collected and trying to USA. Okay, so speaking of the country, what do you hope for the future of our country? Like, what would you like change wise? What would you like to see? I'll start with you, Christine, this time.
I guess I just wish that people would, dial back, if like not get in their feelings so much and just dial back, take a breath, and really just try to open their minds to different perspectives and like become knowledgeable on like the things around them and also things happening like to their neighbor or like on the other side of the world, just to just be more knowledgeable and I guess being smarter, and rather than just acting upon their emotions and making things that they could potentially regret in the future due to, again, emotions. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. I think that's such a hard thing to do, though, and something that's really hard for a lot of people to practice because we're humans. Our initial reaction is the fight or flight, and usually people fight or they flight. So, just working on that. But maybe that comes with experience, as our guru Andrea told us. She's just been, keeping things calm, and I'll let her explain what she hopes to see for our country. Andrea.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Well, you know what? Future of our country. So here's my hope. I know that a house divided cannot stand. And I know that whenever you attack the people and not the problem, then you're always going to have tension and aggression. So there's two things that I would hope for the country in general is that one, we remember that even though we can disagree, if we're divided, we won't last as a country. I mean, Rome did not last forever, and there are reasons why that was the case. So, our empire that we currently experience does not have to be an empire. There's no right here that America can continue this way. There's no law that says we will forever be a superpower. In fact, history has proven over and over and over again that all nations rise and fall at some point. So the goal is try to extend it as much as possible. So what I hope for us after the election is one, we remember that a house divided will certainly fall. Two, you don't have to speak all the time. Listening is also an option. And listening without judgment is a great option to take because I am completely comfortable that I don't have to agree with everyone, Sarah. Like I am so okay with you and I can disagree and I can still be okay with you as a person. And so I know in a lot of therapy whether it's like family therapy or marriage therapy or counseling or what have you, they talk about attacking the problem and not the person. And so I think a lot of times in this country, we have been, at least certainly for far too long, we've been attacking people, whether it's, Democrats attacking Republicans or Republicans attacking Democrats. We're attacking the person and not the problem. And that's an issue. So my hope is that as a nation, we come back to a place of understanding, even if in disagreement. I can get where you're coming. Matter of fact, those to me are the best arguments to have is I can understand your side so much. I could then defend your side or argue your side. I just happen to disagree with it, but I do understand it. And I think at this point, we just have become a place where it's like, la 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 la. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. And like, that's just not going to get us anywhere. So I'm hoping that we kind of mature out of that phase.
Girl, everything you said. 100% agree. I think for me, as an advocate of basically everything you said, I think it's important for people to keep focus of the agenda. And I think that's kind of what you were saying. Like the agenda has become like, oh my gosh, this person said this person did that. No, the agenda remains, why is this person doing this thing? And tackle that issue, they get to the root of the problem. And like I said earlier, it's just so easy to be like, well, she said this and she did that, and it's like a bunch of 5-year-olds. That's how we're acting. So I'm hoping that yes, we voted in the elections, and yes, you may want your preferred candidate to win, but it's also so much bigger than that. It's about actually doing XYZ, every single thing that Andrea listed. There's a quote from high school that I'll always remember. It's like, united we stand, divided we fall. And we are the United States of America, so we got to get united. That word united is not there for no reason. You got to just stick to our words. So I love that. Do you have any, fallback comments on that, Christine, on what Andrea said?
I think that was a good way to word it. Like, there's so many people that are so biased in, I guess, their beliefs, that they're kind of just blind to the other side and any other perspectives. And because they're so biased, they let their anger and their emotions get the best of them. So it's just a matter of being a lot more understanding and, being united. Because as you said, divided we fall.
As we are. We are definitely falling right now, but it's okay. We're gonna get back up because we're strong people, and like Andrea said, we're capable. This isn't the first time that this is happening in history. It just happened to be the first time that we may be experiencing it. So we definitely have a lot of ground to break, but I believe in us. I really do. So speaking of that, like we said earlier, there's been a lot of talk in the media and we've seen a lot of things. What would you say is one of your most memorable moments from this week or maybe this month, this year, pertaining to the election? Share. Andrea, do you want to start off?
Yeah. Let me do that. So for me, it's been interesting watching everyone else from this like third party perspective when I take myself out of like the the place of anxiety. It's like watching everyone else. Here's what I've come to the conclusion of. Everybody has the same fear. How we see that fear is the red and the blue part. But everybody's fear is the same. And the fear is really not even just about the election. It's about the future. What is going to happen in the future? So it's been interesting to watch just everybody have the same, everybody is having the same experience, but the approach to it is different. And that's what makes it so interesting to watch. So, I kind of am I like human behavior and studying that and figuring out why people do the things that they do and what makes people tick. But that has definitely been something very, very interesting. I want to ask you, Sarah, what have you seen? You have a very unique perspective on this country and this place. You have a very international family. What are people saying to you and what are you hearing? And what's your perspective on the things that are going on?
Absolutely. That's a great question that I love to be asked. From an international perspective, besides all of the mockery and the jokes that you've been hearing, but at the end of the day, everyone is genuinely concerned and everyone is genuinely fearful of what's happening or what's to come for this country, only because America is kind of like, it's always been that star, everyone has its eyes on America. Everyone knows what's going on. Even like for us, it's kind of hard to kind of think in a global perspective because we're so caught up in our own little bubble here in the States, but everyone knows exactly what's going on. So a lot of people have been like, in all honesty, jokes aside, we really hope that everything works out because we're the leader. People see the United States as like their leader and they want to learn from us here. And me having both sides is sometimes really hard to take it all in because I'm taking both sides in sometimes, but it's kind of like what you were saying before. It's finding that middle ground and understanding that everyone has the same fear, but also everyone at the end of the day wants the same thing, which is, positivity and reform and just to have a better life, it's human rights. So it's been very interesting. Like we're like the observers as well, as you were describing earlier. Just waiting to see what happens next. Honestly, it's all one big waiting game, to be honest. Yeah.
I'd ask the same question to you, Christine. You have an international background. What are people saying to you and your family, or do they talk about it with you? And are they like, what is happening over there? Are you people crazy? What is going on? Or like, what's kind of been the reaction from your folks?
That is exactly correct. What you just enacted, that is exactly what my cousins do. We try to do like a Zoom hangout like every month or so with like my first degree and second degree cousins who live in like California and the Philippines. And well, my cousins in California are more outspoken than I am, I guess. So they are very passionate about telling the horror stories of America. So my cousins in the Philippines are like, I'm never moving there. But it's definitely interesting seeing a perspective from outside of the States and how knowledgeable they are. Like, it's like what Sarah said, everybody knows what's happening in America, and it's kind of insane. It's kind of crazy just how, like, both our reputation and how the internet, like, can spread information, and how, like, information can even, like, blow up just from one rumor or two rumors about, like, a whole country. It's wild.
Yeah, and that sharing of information is so important, especially if you have like family or friends or just people that's anyone that's viewing from the outside of the glass, just spreading that information and also being careful with the information that you spread because we all saw what went down on Twitter this week with the misleading information, how they're really cracking down on that. So, you know, these are such heated times. And so everyone needs to, like Andrea said, USA, USA. Be careful, be mindful of the information that you spread because, as we pointed out, everyone knows what's going on. You may not know what's going on with them, but they know what's going on with you, us. So just keep in mind. No, it's like so true. They literally know everything. I'm like, how do you? Sometimes my mom would send me like election results before I even knew them. I'm like, you're like thousands of miles away right now. It's crazy. But hey, we must be doing something if we're able to, you know, influence and have everyone pay attention.
I will say one thing, Sarah. I'm gonna try and find my text.
Yeah. Andrea's finding the text, so I'm gonna entertain you guys with my tunes. Smooth Tunes by Sarah. All right, we're back.
Okay, so one of the ones that I got, and it's from a friend that says, I received this. Please be hyper vigilant. Share with your circles. Okay, so I'm a disclaimer this all the way through. I don't even know if this is true or a thing, but it is um, how evil can work if people don't talk to each other. So the NAACP has received credible information that some of the white nationalist groups, neo-Nazis, white supremacist groups, yada, 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 go on, go on, go on, will plan to hang black people over the weekend because they're having initiations, right? So only travel in pairs, whatever. Okay. I don't even know if this is actually true. I just know that someone sent it to me. I almost feel like is this real? And I appreciate that. So when you're saying when I appreciate the fact that when you're saying be careful of the information you spread, I don't share stuff like that because one, I didn't do my own research to see if that's even a real thing. But what it is meant to do is to invoke fear because I know on election day a lot of people got messages very similar to this to say don't go out and vote because you could be attacked and that sort of thing. And it's meant to be disinformation. That's how you separate people. For example, for people who have kids or have ever been a kid, like it's the same thing that happens when you go to mom and you say, "Mom, I want to go so and so," and she says, "Ask your dad." And then you go to ask dad, and dad says, "I don't know, ask your mom." And then he says, "Well, she said that I could go to this party," and then he says, "All right, that's fine." You go to your mom and say, "Dad says I can go to this party," and she goes, "All right, that's fine." Nobody's talked to each other to say, was it okay to go to this party? Right? No one has communicated. You just have two people and an intermediary of disinformation happening in the middle. And so if you're not careful, that happens on a broader scale, a more global scale. So you have to be so careful about the things that you spread on the internet. If you yourself did not verify the information with credible sources, reliable sources, then don't just pop off and share because it sounds like the thing that it gets you all riled up and you're like, other people need to know. It may not even be true. So, that being said, that's an interesting point you made about not spreading information. I just wanted to like emphasize that with something that I got this
100%, guys. Fact check everything. Everything that you see before you spread it or even like talk about it. fact check. There's credible sources out there. But on that note, unfortunately, we have to go. Oh my gosh, this was so resourceful, and I learned a lot, and I got a lot of, I don't know about you guys, but I got a lot of intel from Andrea. That girl was dropping gems in the group chat, okay? And I definitely entered more than once. So thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Christine, for well, kisses, besos. We're international here, Thank you, Christine, as well, for always being lovely. And don't forget to tune in next week on the 13th, Friday the 13th. We'll be back for another episode of Shits and Giggles. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Bye-bye.